Okay, folks, welcome to day one, Q4 2020. This is Bob Desmond. It is 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the dollar's down. The dollar really ruled the roost these past several days in terms of market influence. Besides the deal that's being negotiated out of Washington, everybody wants that stimulus money to spike the market up higher. They did so early yesterday. Then Senator McConnell out of Kentucky sent a lead, poured water on that deal. But I think that they're going to have a deal fairly soon. An announcement came out yesterday, or last night actually, about uh, Mnuchin, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, saying that there would be payments going out to folks under a certain income threshold, and a big chunk. I think it was like $1,200. So I think they're near a deal. I think that McConnell was just fluffing up his feathers a little bit, trying to get to the final number. And either way, both parties. The fact that Nancy Pelosi came back the other day offering up a counteroffer prior to the election tells me there's going to be a deal, and she's off of the high that she was requesting. So they're close. Good morning, WG Shocker. Emilio, good morning. Mark, good morning to you. Welcome to Q1. And today begins Sober October. No, I'm not going on the wagon for the rest of my life. And it's not just alcohol. I do this every year. And that's no alcohol and basically no carbs. So all the COVID pounds that I put on, I'm trying to knock off in October, getting ready for the pounds I'll put on during the holidays. So begins day one of Sober October. All right, let's take a look at the U.S. dollar. The dollar came back yesterday off the lows of the session, and we had closed okay, flat, consolidated overnight, and frankly, this is a bullish bar here. This new bar opened up at 5 a.m., so about an hour and a half ago, and it would appear as though it wants to go higher. We have an inside week thus far, which reminds me, tonight, Thursday night Stock Charts Live, not only are we going to be going over the weekly chart, we'll be talking about the quarterly charts. How do we close out the quarter on certain sectors? And how did day one, Q4, turn out for us? What indications might we have where we're going for the new quarter? We have a lot of economic data coming out today. Of course, we have not the trade deal, the negotiation for the COVID relief package in Washington. So more money print to go burr, firing off very, very soon. Trish, good morning to you. Okay, that's the dollar. Let's go to gold. Gold, at last look, was up. And copper, I want to go to copper first. I checked, this is my last chart of the night last night, and it was on a tear. It's pulling back now. Let's take a look at copper. Copper's a leading indicator. If we pull back these past couple of weeks, but we're holding a lower band of, I don't know, which one is this? Of support. I am of the opinion that we do have a supply chain shift, which should spike raw materials as factories build out. Copper is validating that in some ways. The news out of Vietnam is validating that in certain ways. What we need are breakouts in other raw materials, steel, aluminum, etc. Let's pull back we'll go over copper tonight. I'm going to make note of that. Let's take a look at gold. All right, so we're off the highs here. We do have a W formation forming on gold. We pulled back. Left side of UW, this is a 4-hour chart. Left side of UW, pivot point, right side, we're building that right side, we're breaking out, new higher highs, higher lows. Now, I stopped out, not stopped out, we booked some profits yesterday on gold because frankly, I was overweight, not gold, the gold miners. I was overweight the gold miners, excuse me, and I didn't like the way they closed out the quarter or the month. We'll talk about that tonight on Thursday Night Stock Charts Live. We had a breakout point failure on gold on the month. There's nothing I despise more when I'm long something than seeing a breakout point failure, meaning a bull trap. We had broken out, we failed to hold support, and we closed back down below support, which was retested last month successfully, not last month, in August, successfully failed in September. And we're in a seasonally weak period of time, but it does come back in January. Now, the only fly in the ointment for my rationale for lightening up could be a chaotic and prolonged election day. So, we're still long with the gold miners, however, not as long. And we will, of course, revisit them, and we're back above 1900 yet again this morning. I just noticed that. Let's go to equities. S&P futures, which reversed on the McConnell comments yesterday, are rallying back. In the pre-market, we do have, I believe, a new daily high, 33.7180. Yeah, new daily high, intra-period high. So it looks as though we're building a base here. But again, tonight on Thursday Night Stock Charts Live, I'm going to be going over the quarterly charts, monthly charts of the S&P 500. And we need to appreciate how extended we are historically on the S&Ps. Not that we can't go higher. So, and I'm also going to go over a chart of the XLK. And it is eerily similar to that of the 2007, 2008 timeframe. On a quarterly and monthly basis, I should say. Now, I want to talk about bonds a bit here because yields spiked yesterday, which caused the financials, let's go to the NASDAQ 100 first. I don't want to skip this. Yeah, we'll break it out. I'm going to go to bonds in a moment because they're important. Because, what are you doing to me here? They won't let me highlight this. Okay. All right, so we're attempting to break out this morning above this resistance level in red. RSI is looking strong. Watch for a retest of support. If we should break out, we're up 1.25% thus far today. Looking good. We are at a new sequential daily high. So I think that the equity market is sniffing out a deal here. And I tend to concur with that. Bonds. Now you would think that if we had a deal that bonds would be rallying and yields pulling back, but that's not happening. Now the dollar's down, which makes sense, but it is inching higher. Let's see what the dollar is. These are the two indicators to watch to see how close we are to a deal. When I say inching higher, yeah, it's down. We're down on the session. Yeah, we broke out this last bar. We're pulling back this bar. So we continue to put in lower highs. No higher highs yet, but this is still ominous to the upside. We don't have a breakdown. It's not telling us, man, there's a deal imminent at any moment. Silver prices, they broke down, attempted to recapture support. No bueno. I think the performance of this market, absent a Treasury, Federal Reserve hat trick into Election Day, on a failure to come to a deal in Washington, is not going to be pretty for this market. They need a deal. The president needs a deal, and I think he's going to have to pay up. Natural gas attempting to break out here after failing. No reason to go buying. Energy, I'm going to go over energy tonight. I mean, last quarter was just absolutely brutal. I'm interested in seeing whether or not we put in new quarterly lows and how quickly we do so. Light sweet crude. What happened here? Where's my light sweet crude? There we go. Light sweet crude down nearly a percentage point this morning. All right. So this is a market that is in wait and see mode. The NASDAQ 100 being bid up, S&P 500 being bid up. The question is, do we fade? They need a deal. All right, let's go to Jay. Good morning. RL, good morning. Nah, it's not a new start time, RL. It's just that I got to bed so late last night that I tried to get up earlier this morning, and I was like, I couldn't do it. I was just out of it. So usually I'll be on at 5 a.m. The next default time would be at 6:30. But always I'm going to announce the replays or have the replays up. All right, let's go to do some. What's ExxonMobil doing this morning? Not much. I'm watching these the energy plays, the raw material plays. The one thing that's concerning are the layoffs that are being announced. All right, let's take a look at the economic data that is being released today. A lot of it. Initial jobless claims. Core inflation. ISM manufacturing index. You have a couple of Fed heads out there. So a lot of economic data coming out tomorrow, and tomorrow, excuse me, let me rephrase. It's still early for me. We have a lot of economic data coming out today. I think I said tomorrow. And tomorrow we have the Pimp Mac Daddy of them all coming out, and that is non-farm payrolls. Very, very important number. So the next couple of days, important data coming out. Let's go take some chart requests. I was doing scans last night, and Decker's popped up as one. And I'm liking the setup here. This is a housing play, building supplies. And you can see that we are right at a volume shove, right at 220 spot 20. We break out. I think we're going a lot higher here on Decker's. So this is one on our watch list. I'm writing it down. So I want to know when we break out on Decker's. Okay. All right, so we're good there. All right, FedEx. First, I got to take a look at the members area here. Any requests? Yeah, I do have a bunch to go over. We'll get to Emilio. I have you, Chuck. You're up here. Eric. You guys were busy last night, man. This thing was empty when I last looked. Okay. All right, so that's Decker's. The alert's set. GRWG. Grow Generation Corp. Emilio, is this a wheat stock? All right, right off the bat, I get concerns here. Thanks, RL. That's funny, Emilio. That's funny. Sounds like me. All right, so we have a lot of resistance up here, plus relative to the third standard deviation Bollinger Band. We're a bit extended. It's a nice chart, not a huge amount of data here. We're making higher highs, higher lows. That's all good stuff. So it's going in the right direction as a long. I doubt we have a bunch of seasonality here. It's 4 years is not enough. It's just not enough. All right, let's. Yeah, so I think right off the bat, the play here is that ideally, we do a retest. Can I send an alert here? I think we will. I may have to overlay this. No, it's not letting me. There we go. So, could somebody let me know how the audio is? I've been messing around with the microphone, trying to make sure the audio is good. If not, I'm returning it and getting a new one today. Hopefully that's the issue. There is an echo, huh? All right, I'm going to change the setting. All right, I just changed the setting. Is that any better? Yeah. All right. Oh, it is better. Oh, no. Okay, so we have a mixed. All right. I'm hoping it's the microphone, because if it's not, that means it's the probably the connection with YouTube, and I may have to try a different connection. I do have a way of doing that, so I'll give it a shot. All right. Long. All right, that's strategy number one. Nibble down here, stop loss right below. Then ultimately, a weekly breakout. Add or enter. And we'll keep that active for 8 days is good. So I didn't forget it. RSI, we did a little bit of a breakdown here. Let's see if it holds the support level. So I don't see a compelling reason to go running in right now. You have a lot of resistance above, as noted by these topping tails and volume shelves. Let's check out the daily chart. We are in a fairly tight consolidation. Higher lows, higher. Oh, this is going to get resolved fairly soon. Let's try that again, Bob. There you go. So we're right at a resistance mark. So another way to trade this would be, I hate when they do that. Sometimes they let me set alerts at these 45-degree angle resistance levels. It's actually better? All right, so it's the setting on the mic. And this is what's been working of late. Thanks, Mark. But it shouldn't be, this picks up way too much background noise, so it shouldn't be the proper setting for these purposes. So I think it might be the mic. So I can't set an alert here, but I would watch for a successful breakout retest. As a matter of fact, here, this is what we could do. There's always a workaround. I would want to see a rally, successful breakout above this upper band of resistance, then a pullback, and a retest. It must hold, it must close above this mark. I'll keep this active for a few days. All right, so our alerts are set here. I think it's a good-looking chart. Emilio, I think you're spot on with your call. It's probably going up higher. The only concern I do have, it goes, and today's a new month, right? So we're going to have a new bar that opens up. So it's going to be out here. So I like the chart. I think it's probably going higher. So good stuff. And what else do we have? MCRB, another one for Emilio. All right, Emilio. MCRB. Series Therapeutic. Oof. What a monster. A monster move here. I mean, on a monthly basis, it's extremely overbought. On a weekly basis, we broke out this week, and there's really little to none in terms of overhead supply above. I'm not sure what the short interest is here, but it's a good looking chart. But that monthly chart is extended as our seasonality. October, it's up. Well, it's only 5 years worth of data, so let's keep this in perspective. And really, 5 years is the minimum I would really want to use for seasonality. October is up 0% of the time. So I take that at face value. I don't put much emphasis on this thin of data. Daily chart. A very nice potential Bollinger Band squeeze here. Very tight Bollingers. It's already beginning to expand out the Bollingers. We have broken out. A little bit of a fade yesterday, but that's consistent with the market in general. I think ideally, given where we're at current, I would like to see a retest of support at around 26.36 because it was resistance. Now it should act as support. So good looking chart. Monthly chart definitely concerning because we did close out the month. I want to revisit this because we see this all too often. Is that we close out a month above the third standard deviation Bollinger Band, and it doesn't end well. I could have said that last month. You know what? I'd be sitting here like, an ass right now. But look at the intra-month volatility of last month. It was not an easy month. But that being said, it's a strong stock. It can go higher. But beware of the monthly extension of where we're at relative to the third standard deviation Bollinger Band, CHWY, because ultimately that gets resolved. We see it way too often. Wow, Chewy. What happened here, man? Bearish key reversal on the month last month. First thing I think about is, do we put it in a new monthly low at the beginning of a month? We did not take out the lows of the prior month. Weekly chart. We broke out last week. Don't be the least bit surprised to see a retest of, let's call it 52.75. Stokes are beginning to flatten out. We may, just may, on a weekly basis, be putting in, let me put my arrows here. All right, arrows aren't working. We may be putting in a higher low versus the week of the 14th and a higher low versus this prior low here. So wait for the retest, nibble, open, add on the breakout, manage your risk. Is where I would be very excited to get long of the shares on a rally up and through 57.55. Okay. Let's see what the daily chart is telling us, because maybe that'll influence me. No, it's not. We're in a wedge formation. Stokes are gaining strength here. 3-day pullback. Bearish reversal bar on the day yesterday. we do have some support here. So 54.62 should be very, very moderate to weak support. This lower band of support here at around 53.50 is more serious support. All right, so the automated trend lines aren't helping here. Okay, so Chewy, it's a show me stock. It's got to show us that it can hold support. It's got to show us it can break out. Until then, I don't see any reason to put any money to work here. Seasonality, we don't have enough data. And one thing I do not like, lots of buys. Morgan Stanley had a hold, but they're still at a hold. You have a little bit of a headline risk here. RBC Capital, they went to a buy. A lot of buys here with the risk of a headline coming out of the downgrade. So just be forewarned. I use this as, I don't care what the analysts really think. I use this as a headline risk barometer. Like if you take a look at ExxonMobil, for instance, I believe it's ExxonMobil. Look at all the holds and sells. To me, this is potential good news once these guys, or if these guys, I should say, begin to change their mind. This is a potential tailwind, not a headwind. And everybody hates it, which is why I like it. All right. Chuck, Pinterest. Right at resistance, we tapped last month. Well, that's an all-time high, that's why I put the line there. How did we close yesterday? Just shy of resistance. I think the play here is fairly easy. It'll be a rally through 42.56 and a close above that mark. Another way to trade will be a pullback to this lower band of support. No data to speak of. I would feel more comfortable with a pullback here. If we get there, and I think it's entirely possible. So, long entry with a nibble, tight stop below, because if we break down below this support level, that's a problem, because that means that we would have put in a lower high, and now we're breaking down to lower lows on a daily basis. But ideally, what happens here is that you just simply break out, you do a retest of resistance. So that's the game plan. I wouldn't buy it in here. Too much guessing game going on. Allow the shares to prove themselves worthy of your investment dollar. Eric, Solo. Oh, this is Electromagnetica. I love the name, but I can't say it. So you can see, this is a daily chart. Before I go to the monthly, weekly chart, you can see how this volume shelf here is acting as stiff resistance. Monthly chart. We already have alerts set up here. All right, so monthly chart, volatile pullback. We close slightly off the lows of the month. Weekly chart. We do have a breakout on the week, looking for a retest of this support level or a breakout above this resistance level. And that's on a daily basis. Let's bring up the daily chart. A retest of the support level would be ideal. I think you could get it. I think what it was setting up for is a W formation, left side, center, pivot point. This becomes a pivot point. And then you form your right side. Ideally, you get down to, what is that, 233? It's font's so hard to read. 233 per share. And then you open up down there. That gives you a lot of, like a running start when we begin to rally up into this volume shelf. And once we get above 272, then I think we move a lot higher. So patience with this one. We're fighting resistance at current. Yesterday's price action, bears clearly won. So just be careful of buying into this volume shelf. I would wait for a pullback or a breakout above it. Don't do battle with these guys. Don't swim with the sharks. All right. Let's see what else we have. FedEx. I'm running low on time here. All right, so we rallied very, very strong last month. Fourth consecutive month. Nice move, but we hit resistance. We're just shy of it. You can see how this resistance level back here in 2018 is now resistance yet again in 2020. We have RSI on a weekly basis at 81. A bit extended. We did manage to close again above the support level. So this is going to be a fairly quick resolution. We're in the apex of a triangle formation. Not much room to go within this band here. Here's the upper band at 259.28. Lower band, what was yesterday's low? Low 249.12. Not much room to go. So you're going to get a resolution in one direction or the other fairly soon. And I would wait for that resolution. Either we break out or we break down. I don't see any reason to go buying right here, right now, unless the daily chart can sway me. And no, it's telling you that what was resistance back in 2018 is resistance yet again. And I would wait for this to get put into the rearview mirror. Or we pull back and you buy in at lower lows. We should have trend lines here. I think this would be an extreme pullback to 224.65. But let's be more rational and use a weekly chart. which really isn't any more better. I think that you have better support levels, like here, that are more likely to get tested. Let's overlay monthly resistance on a weekly chart. Yeah, so you have another support level here at 244.80 if you wanted to nibble there. But I would use a tight stop below that mark if you close down below it. But ultimately the play here is buy the breakout. So 243, 244 per share is support. Don't be shocked for it to get hit. That's a reasonable support level. If that fails, 230.22 is the next support level below that. I don't see a reason to get long right now unless it breaks out. Apple. How do we close out of the month? Rough month. Look at all these buys. Okay. Monthly chart not looking wonderful. We're extended. I think we can pull back further here easily. Weekly chart. On a weekly basis, we have rallied up and into resistance. Stokes are attempting to flatten out here, but they are down below 50. There's a lot of resistance up here. I think if we manage to close above 119 per share, that becomes interesting. But I think there's a lot of risk with opening up a trade right here, right now. Daily chart. I see zero reason to open up a position right now. You know, the Stokes look good, but we're not going to buy a stock based upon stochastics only. So, yeah, ideally the play is you get to pull back, retest, so you're able to enter a stop loss with very, very minimal risk and lots of upside potential. If you buy here, you know, your risk is a bit higher. Or you buy the breakout at 119 per share. Let's talk about seasonality for a moment. This goes back to 1984. Yeah. So a lot of data here. September, consistent, highly consistent last month with seasonality. So the month of October tends to be an up month, 75% of the time going back 36 years. We have a lot of data here. So a seasonally strong period of time for the next several months. So that doesn't mean we're going straight up. It just means that the probability of us closing higher is very good. On percentage terms, how much? I don't know. I'm not that smart. I don't have the data in front of me. Amerigo, good morning. So that's Apple. What else do we have here? Amazon. Last one up, Amazon. We broke support last month. And it's an outside reversal month, or a bearish engulfing, whatever you want to call it. It's not a good chart. Look at all of these buys. Everybody loved, nobody downgraded. Nobody. Outside reversal month, everybody's a buy. Everybody loves Amazon. All right, so what we're doing, I would not buy these shares. We're way too close to stiff resistance. Stokes are weak. Yes, they're moderating. They're attempting to hook back up on a weekly basis. Let's see how we close out the week. And I wouldn't go buying into resistance. You have layoffs that are being announced all over the place. Disney, 28,000 announced. The daily chart looks like we could move up higher here, but will it take out these resistance levels? And I wouldn't want to put money on the table betting that it's going to close above resistance. I want to buy when it does close above resistance, or if it pulls back to a reasonable support level. And there are a couple here. One of which, at 31.66, we popped above yesterday. There's probably still more fuel in the tank here to the upside, but you have a ton of resistance above. So I'd be very, very careful. Let's talk about seasonality. Going back 23 years, September is usually up 65%. And we dropped down in October. So seasonality did not play out last month for Amazon, although historically it does. And October is worse. So I would be very, very careful here with Amazon. Yeah, I heard about PLTR. I don't think there's any data on it. Have they even been issued yet? No. At least I picked up, unless I typed it in wrong. No, it's not issued yet. I've heard about it. I don't know much about it, though, amigo. All right, with that, folks, please smash the like button. Join us tonight, Thursday Night Stock Charts Live. We're going to go over the quarterly charts and the monthly charts to see how we closed out last quarter, last month, tonight, to identify where these markets may be going. So join us 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on YouTube. Click that link below to get alerted 15 minutes prior to us going live. And please subscribe to the channel, like the channel, and everybody have a profitable trading day. Be well.